first episode of BSN.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's finally happening.
You've been talking about it forever.
Little Hail Dale to open up the show. That little manual need to eat. All right, everybody. This is BK here with BSN. That stands for Beverages, Shenanigans, and Nonsense. And this is episode 1. My guest today is Mick Cohn from Brew Life Brewing. Mick, how you doing?
What's up, BK?
Another day in the hood. Feels good to be in this building right now here at Brew Life. We did have another guest lined up, Chris Flanagan of the infamous band Haledale. Unfortunately, he had to run because we had some technical issues, but we'll get him back on another show, and we'll talk about all his experiences in music, and his boating experiences, because he's the newest captain in town who doesn't know how to drive a fucking boat. Or he knows how to drive a boat, he just doesn't know how to keep it running or get gas. Or
he knows how to steer the thing.
Yeah, that's about it. But here we are, Brew Life. It's episode 1, and some of the things you're going to hear on this show moving forward are, we're going to talk to local bars, restaurants, breweries, food trucks. We're going to talk to local people who own businesses that are, just getting off the ground or been around a little while, and they're very small and they're trying to expand. And we're going to tell stories, and everybody's going to get drunk if you're drinking, or get your head right if you're smoking on the trees, and we'll go from there. I can't partake really in any of that right now, unfortunately.
You're the designated driver.
I'm the designated driver of this shit show. But we're going to make it work. I am tasting a little beer today, a little Cashmere PA here at Brew Life, and it's pretty delicious.
It's good for your heart, too, from what I understand.
well, that's good. I don't have one of those. I am a robotic soul. If you guys don't know much about me, or you want to know a little bit more, I did have open heart surgery a few months back when my heart was failing, and they put in something called an LVAD, which is a pump that pumps the blood in my system, and it keeps the left side of the heart pumping, and it runs at about 6,100 RPM. And I turned into kind of like a gremlin.
That's third gear.
It's third gear. I kind of am a gremlin now. I come, as the wife calls it, I come with like all these stipulations now, like I can't get wet. If it's raining, I need a poncho, and stuff like that. That's kind of ridiculous. But overall, I have to watch what I eat and everything. And it's kind of fun at times because sometimes you can actually hear it running when it's really quiet. You just hear this, and sometimes you don't. But
you're a robot.
I am robotic, and hopefully in the next few months we'll be changing that and put in a pig heart or something. I don't know, whatever we can find. Maybe a monkey heart. I don't know.
What was that good baboon heart with not Kiefer Sutherland? What was that dumb movie back in the 90s where the guy had a baboon heart? Christian Slater.
Yeah, it was Christian Slater. Christian Slater. Whatever happened to that guy?
Don't know.
Right? Don't know.
No clue, man.
Well, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about Brew Life, how you guys got started, and then introduce yourself, how you got into beer, Mick, and then we got some fun stuff coming up that I have planned for you that you don't know a thing about.
Well, first let me say I'm honored to be the first guest on your podcast, BK. You have mentioned this. You've done podcasts before, so was kind of hoping you'd get back into it. So you give me something to listen to while I poop, and I appreciate that.
Slowly but surely, and I appreciate that you listen while you poop, or you're going to listen while you poop.
Sure. I listened to your old podcast when I was pooping.
It can't get any worse from the first one, so it's only going to get better after this one, right?
Nice. We'll see what we can do to shit on this this parade before it gets started. Beer. Yeah, beer's good, man. We do beer here in town. I've been doing beer here in town for a while. I've been doing beer here in town with you for a while.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, it did. The second it came out of my mouth, I regretted it. But yeah, Tom, Mike, and myself, we were kind of Jupiter aligned with Mars, seventh house, Jupiter. Well, I already said that. And we opened Brew Life. We wanted to make beer. We were in the right place, right time. we were lucky enough to be in the same room in the same time to be able to put pen to paper and come up with a good concept and trust that Tommy's beer would deliver, and I think we're hopefully hitting the mark. I mean, we haven't had a lot of stones thrown through the front window yet, which is nice.
That's a good thing. That's a real good thing.
Yeah.
You do have an interesting location here in Sarasota. It is a very eclectic parking lot and strip mall that you share with.
You say it so poetically.
Vape shops.
We're a casino from being the red light district in Sarasota, man.
Yeah, it's definitely eclectic. If you guys don't know, it's located at Clark Road in Beneva, right on the northeast corner.
Yeah.
And it's quite the eclectic plaza. I mean, not only do you have a tire shop out front, but, you do have a tattoo shop. There's a vape shop, a porn store, Japan Sauna, I think, is still down the street.
It's a hand job store.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a Greek restaurant, a Peruvian place, and a nice little bar called The Hideaway, which has definitely become something a lot nicer than it used to be.
Don't forget about the tattoo parlor.
I did mention that. I did mention that.
Okay.
And Jackson Hewitt Taxes, I think, are right down the road, too. So, and Jiffy Lube's right out back. So, either way, if you need lube, this is the plaza to come to in any way, shape, or form.
And right behind Jiffy Lube is a church. God bless it.
Right? So, I mean, it's kind of an action-packed corner.
We're in an interesting strip mall.
Yeah. Hey, it's okay. At least it's here. At least it's here. You guys are serving amazing beers.
Thank you.
I know everybody goes crazy over your Pink Guava IPA, and I know that's something that Tom hates to brew all the time.
I was going to say everybody but Tom.
Everybody but the brewer likes it. But, it pays bills, right? So
it helps.
Beer pays the bills at the end of the day.
I think if we did the math on it, I drink the profit, so I don't think it really is. I enjoy Pink Guava myself a lot, and
more than you should.
I probably don't help the bottom line much.
Well, it's okay. I'm not currently working here anymore, and I'm not drinking, so I don't add to that anymore. You guys might actually have a sixth or something laying around a little bit longer.
We call it the BK stash.
That's okay. When the heart comes and I can drink again, game on.
Awesome.
Game on.
Can't wait.
I'll look like Homer Simpson under all the taps. Running a growler hose to my mouth out of 3 different taps at once.
We'll be closed Tuesday except for BK.
That's right. And I'm not paying.
Nope.
No, I will definitely pay. Oh, man. Well, yeah, you guys are making some great beers. You guys got anything new coming up that you can talk about or,
you had mentioned Pink Guava. Depending on the timeliness of this program when it gets released, we are shooting for a Pink Guava 2.0 release by the end of August, so that's something to look forward to. We're kind of blessed. We're lucky. We're very, very, very small batch, so our commitment level to dates we like to keep very loose. The beer tells Tom when it's ready to be served, and not a day sooner, and definitely not a day later. We want to get out the freshest product that is just ready to be consumed, and we're lucky to where we don't have too many deadlines around here to have to meet if we don't make them ourselves.
And yeah, that's an important thing too. I think it happens everywhere where brewers, and it's maybe not necessarily their call, but somebody from higher up, that's telling them, hey, we got to get this beer out. And it might not be to the brewer's specifications yet. He might not like the way it tastes yet, but they have to ship it out, for those that are in distribution. And, like you said, the beer tells Tom when it's ready.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, and I think every brewery has done it at least once, release something that they weren't quite happy about because it wasn't quite ready yet. But they just had to get out there because they put that commitment date out there, which you guys, once it's ready and you guys, can it up or whatever you're doing, then, hey, it's released this week.
Well, that's that whole distribution topic that, we don't have to deal with. We don't make enough beer to even consider that as an option right now. We got to make sure that our home-based customers are fed, and it doesn't really leave much to the distribution concept, but I look at these guys, and you obviously don't want to lose a draft line or anything out there, so you've got to fulfill an order, and that order's from the distributor, and we luckily don't have to put that trust out there that everybody is treating our beer fairly outside of these four walls.
Yeah,
it's tough. I can imagine.
Yeah, and being that I've worked with breweries that were in distribution, and there sometimes they want more than you can give them at the time.
Sure.
And beer takes a couple weeks to make. It's not sure it takes a few hours in one day, but the fermentation part of it, sometimes it goes a little longer.
Takes some patience.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just jump into things and be like, "Hey, next week we're going to give you this beer," but we haven't brewed it yet. It doesn't work.
Right. So. But the whole distribution thing, it's a double-edged sword simply because, then you take the trust that these breweries, are putting into the distributor, and even the front-end bars that serve the beer, you got to make sure that the lines are clean, the glasses are clean, because God forbid, you put your beer into to distribution, it gets sent out, and it goes to a bar that maybe doesn't have the cleanest draft lines, or maybe doesn't have a beer clean glass, and the front end customer might confuse maybe not the cleanest environment with bad beer,
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of trust that you're putting into, I don't want to say strangers, because after, a while you become friends with your customers. I mean, we've both worked behind draft lines where we are, trying to give out the best product, but there are some people that maybe don't pay as much attention to detail that could potentially give these breweries that are out in distro a sullied name, which
Absolutely.
is sad.
Absolutely. And, obviously we've all seen the brewery craze, and anybody listening, most of you guys go to craft breweries anyways. I know that for a fact because that's where I probably met you. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't in a shitty dive bar somewhere, I met you in a brewery. And we didn't meet at the grocery store, I promise you that. But
in the meat aisle.
It's one of those things that brewers, especially in breweries, and the people serving in the breweries, your beer tenders and stuff, those people are taking the most pride in that product. And like you said, you ship it off to the bar down the street, and you hope that they're cleaning their lines every week. You hope that, they're pouring proper and the glasses are clean. They're not coming out of a 2-degree full of ice glass.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's Florida. A lot of people like that, but
that does happen.
It does happen. And then, maybe they're not getting rinsed properly, like you said, with the beer clean glass, so you're getting this weird soapy flavor, and you're wondering why it is, because you had this beer at the brewery and it tastes completely different. Well, that's because it wasn't 3 weeks old in this keg that's been sitting on this nasty draft line. And so definitely understand that. And obviously, when it comes to distribution, we could go down a whole road of that, but we won't, because we won't talk about how things have changed in distribution and people fighting for shelf space, because that's been talked about by a million different podcasts, and we don't need to go down that road because
it's boring stuff, man.
It is.
It's boring stuff.
It is.
It's business. It's business.
It's
boring
business.
Stuff.
It's beer business, and unless that's what you want to be a part of, great. If that's what you're into, find another fucking podcast, because we're not going to do that here.
Nice.
But, one thing that's happening right now in this beer world, which I think is kind of funny, is these hard seltzers.
Hey,
we're going down the no claw, white claw, no law thing.
Let's go there, because I see both sides of the coin. Being in the beer business, I drink a lot of beer, and we'll just take a typical Saturday. Saturday starting at noon. I don't drink that early, but I was right after lunch-ish. You have a couple beers, and then I'll get off around 6, 7 o'clock-ish and have a couple more beers. And by the time, it's dinner time, I've had about 4 or 5 beers. I'm not done drinking yet. Maybe I don't quite want a vodka drink. So I'm buying these seltzers because there's always an option like that around.
You heard it here first. Mick Cohn buys seltzers.
I do. I'm a black cherry guy. I don't do it religiously. And there has been one time where I solely caught a buzz off just the hard seltzers. Yeah, it was.
Is that even
strange.
possible? I guess it is possible.
It was strange. But I'm a beer guy first. But hey, man, listen. I've always been from the school of whatever makes you happy, and I don't always have to agree with it, and you don't always have to agree with it. It is obviously what it is. It's taking this world by storm.
It is. I think, what did I just see the other day? That Natty Light Natural Light just released a hard seltzer.
Right.
And now Pabst Blue Ribbon is releasing an 8% seltzer. They're taking the alcohol up in it. You know, I think what Pabst just do that coffee is like an infused coffee with alcohol, beer, or whatever. And I haven't tasted that or anything.
Well,
but
let me throw this back at you. I mean, they're calling it hard seltzer or hard water or whatever they call it. We call it. We had an option before this White Claw kicked in, and you know, we figured the more welcoming we could be to the general public. You know, not everybody's going to love beer. I'm not foolish enough to think that, and we don't want to lose a crowd of 4 people because guy number 5 wants a White Claw. But at least they're calling it what it is. It's a hard seltzer. You know, there are other things that are considered beer that are kind of going off the flavor of beer. You know, there's a lot of beer out there that is trying to mask up the fact that it's beer, and people are drinking it. So I don't know, man. It's a weird time.
what do you hate that you've seen recently about beer and what's happening in the beer industry?
Oh man. Oh, dude.
Personally, me?
Hate is a strong word, BK.
Okay.
I don't like that word.
What do you dislike about some of the things that you see in the beer industry right now?
In the beer industry, I think the one thing that I think would say stands out to me is, hey, man, again, back to whatever makes you happy. I don't like hearing somebody say, "Oh, that beer tasted like shit," or "I hated that beer." Well, maybe you're right. Maybe to you and your taste, you didn't like the beer, or maybe you didn't like the style, or whatever. But the criticism, I think people, you know, really like having an opinion, and they should have an opinion. I just would hope that the masses don't really give a shit about other people's opinions.
Well, I feel like that's a big problem with, you know, some of those sites like you have, you know, Rate Beer.
Sure.
And these guys that anybody can go in and, you know, put their opinion on there. So, you know, a beer that could be delicious to you or I, somebody goes in there who doesn't like that style, you know, IPAs, obviously, you know, that was the big thing. Yeah, this beer is too bitter. This beer, you know, tastes like cat pee or whatever. That's not your style. You know, especially if you're a lager drinker, you know, you like the lighter beers and whatnot. You go in there and then you rate it a 2 because you didn't like it.
Right. Well, I think we got
it's too accessible.
On Untapped one time, I saw that we got on one of our IPAs. You know, again, we have a small batch, so we go through beer names like, geez, I think I go through, you know, toothpicks. Yeah, toothpicks. And I think one got like a 1-star review, and it stood out to me. I was like, oh, shit. And the comment was, I hate IPAs. So it's like, all right, you know.
You know what you were drinking. You read it on the menu that it's an IPA. That is probably under the bitter hoppy section.
Right.
And you said, you know, I'm going to try it anyway.
Yeah, and you know what? They do give the option not to give it a numeric value. Just saying, you know, if you know you're going to go into it thinking it's going to taste like shit to you,
yeah.
You know. But that's kind of the world we live in. You've got Yelp. You've got all these review sites, and people's opinions are important, mostly to themselves, and I think that people as a whole, they realize that nobody else's opinion really matters but me. Some people like blondes, some people like brunettes, some people like, you know, redheads.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
What makes the world go round.
Absolutely. You know, and that's, I think, my biggest thing right now that I've seen in the industry across the board is, you know, a lot of people using a lot of purees in their beer and changing that beer flavor. I know that some of the local guys joke around and call it beer-flavored beer.
Beer-flavored beer.
And I love it. And even, you know, I feel like when I see somebody that takes a bunch of puree, puts it in a can, you know, with their beer, and they can it up, but they say, you know, and there was actually an article online about this the other day that I read, you know, somebody, and this was coming from brewers, like, I can't stand that because it says, you know, keep cold.
Right.
Well, you know what? Beer doesn't necessarily have to be kept cold. Obviously, it's best that way. But when you warm it up, they didn't filter any of that puree out, so the cans are exploding, and people are wondering why.
Right.
You know, so you're drinking something that's just chewy.
People love them juice bombs, though, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's
listen. Trust me. There's a fine line between doing what you want to do and doing what you think is right and selling out. The fact of the matter is the FPL doesn't pay themselves, man. And as true to your craft as you might want to stay in this business, you've got to pay the bills first. So, you can't always go down right the middle. You gotta lean to the left. I mean, pink guava's got puree in it. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not all natural puree. It's pink guava, but it is what it is. But what was it? You do one for them and three for you, or
yeah.
You got to make people happy, and you got to make them kind of recognize you. And right now there are some sexy words out there that bring people to the yard, man.
Like slushy.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't go that
beers.
far. Unfortunately, that's a thing. But I don't even want to get into that. But yeah, I mean, you say hazy IPA, and that's a different thing now. I mean, you can't. People don't come in here and say I want an IPA. They come in here and say what do you have that's a hazy?
Yeah.
And then you've got the dessert stouts, which you got to have a sweet tooth. But everybody likes what they like. So I mean, I can't say that that's a wrong style of beer. I don't particularly love them because I drink 2 ounces and I'm good. And it's just not. I kind of like more of a beer session. I like the camaraderie that comes with it, and beer shares are very cool, but it just seems overwhelming when you have so many sweet beers. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely understand. I'm not a huge fan of the super sweet stouts myself. They're not for me. People like them. There's a few that I've had that I've really enjoyed. And then there's a few that I feel that I've tasted, and I was like, that's going to give me diabetes.
Yeah, well, again, and then you can get into the debate, does the label sell the beer, does the beer sell the beer, but that's a whole nother show there, too, B. Kizzle.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. One thing I do like about a lot of the breweries is, they become a lot more family-friendly, but some of the guys are putting limits on that.
That's a slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope. I think it's great that, during the day you want to, you're new in town or you're visiting town, you want to swing by the brewery and you got your kids with you, great. But after 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night,
Adult Swim.
It's Adult Swim,
I got to, if you don't mind,
no, go ahead.
During the day, you also have to kind of know your environment. Yeah, we have games here for sure, and we love it when kids, are enjoying themselves here, but you also have to keep in mind that there are people here that are drinking. And maybe they have kids at home, and they're at home for a reason, This is an adult environment that is welcoming to kids, but the kids have got to respect, and the parents. Well, the kids usually follow suit if the parents do, and hopefully you have a little bit of that. And that's where the slippery slope comes in, is how much, how much of it's a playpen and how much of it's a brewery.
Well, it's also, as just a moral aspect, I'm not going to come with my children and have 6 or 7 beers and then drive them home.
I
mean, it is one of those things. Well, so you see people do it, but it's
teach their own, dude.
Exactly.
I turned into a seller after 3 beers, so I shouldn't be around kids, man.
Yeah.
My cursing gets a little amplified.
One thing I do like about Brew Life is, like you said, games. You guys have a bunch of old school video games here.
Yeah, that's it's kind of a newer addition that we threw in, just because. We've always the place isn't the Taj Mahal. It looks like your buddy's basement, or the game room at your fraternity house or something like that, and that's cool by us, So we had some dead wall space, and a buddy of mine came to me and said, "I've got a couple cool video games. Let's put them in." I said, "Absolutely." Nothing makes the inner child happier than to have the key to the video games, BK.
I bet.
Dude.
So what out of what you have, let's see, I know you have Galaga, you have Mrs. Pac-Man, you got Dig Dug, which are always Centipede.
Yep.
My favorite, Off-Road.
Off-Road is awesome.
It's one of those games that I grew up playing, and I'll always play it. And you got a few other ones, too. What is your favorite currently that you guys have that you love to play?
Well, you can't go wrong with Galaga. I've been playing that since I'm a little kid. But the X-Men game, it's actually an X-Men game, but the dude, our buddy, changes out the chip or the board or whatever. So right now it's some really horrible wrestling.
Oh, fantastic.
Right, but he just got back from a vacation, so he's kind of getting back into the swing of things. He's got a board to make it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That game was fantastic.
I can't wait, dude.
Everybody will be fighting over to play that one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool, that he's able to come in and do that for you guys and change stuff up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a big thing. I know I live up in the St. Pete area, and we have right around the corner, which is an arcade brewery. I know they just opened a pinball museum up there. Looking forward to checking that out. And I know there's been a lot of influx in the craft beer world with it. You're seeing these arcades, if you want to call them beercades, where you pay $5, you play all day, and you drink beer, and that doesn't suck.
I mean, what's better than drinking beer and playing? You know,
right? And playing old school. I mean, you're going to sit at home and crush. Growing up as a when you're in your teenage years, crushing Budweisers or whatever, crushing Natty Lights or Bluegills and playing, Mario or whatever. And there's no difference here except now we're older and we're still playing the same game.
But we can afford a $10 roll of quarters and just kick them in. Let me tell you something. That's the best part about having these video games here is you'll see a dude come in that's maybe my age or a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older, who at the time the video games came out, had some shitty job delivering papers or something, and had to check telephone things for change, and you only had a couple bucks to go in and play a couple games. Well, now I see these guys walk in here, give me a $10 bill, I'll give them a roll of quarters, and they will literally play, and it's cool. It's really cool to watch.
Keep pumping stuff in.
Just keep cool.
Now, do you have any? I mean, like I said, all the stuff you guys really have here right now is all electronic. Do you plan on doing like an actual pinball machine at some point or anything?
It's funny because we are looking for a pinball table, potentially too, if the space allows. I don't know where I was going there. But again, these things, it's not like you can go into Walmart and buy an old Mortal Kombat machine. And it's not like if you did that, then you couldn't just put them up. Somebody's got to take care of these things. Are shit. Some of them are 40 years old, man. Yeah. And they're old. It's old technology. And if the screens are old and the wood is old, everything's old. So they're old.
And one of my favorite things you guys have here, and there wasn't a few of these in town. I mean, you still have a couple now, but bubble hockey. Yeah. And, if you like foosball and you've never played bubble hockey, get off the soccer field and come and play some bubble hockey here at Brew Life. Because I know if Mick's around, he'll play anytime.
I'm the champion.
He's not too busy.
I'm the champion. Throw me a challenge. I'm the champion.
Oh, man, he's a champion, he says. And I know there was a little league, if you want to call it, about a year ago or so up here at Brew Life, and they were all fighting over, pumping quarters into this bubble hockey machine. But I know the first time I really started playing bubble hockey was at the old paddy wagon that was in the Golfgate area.
Monks had one.
Yeah, Monks had one. And both of those places, man, go there and just play bubble hockey and get drunk.
I'm pretty sure there are two in town, one here and one at Ebby's on Bee Ridge. Other than that, I haven't seen them.
I know that one of them was acquired by an employee of the paddy wagon, I believe, and I think he still might have it. Ricky, if you're out there, if you do listen, bring it on, buddy.
Yeah.
I know. Swing by South Clark and play with Mick one day.
Whoa.
Yeah, it came out wrong.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, man. So I know you guys don't do a lot of crazy events around here because you really don't have the space to do like a lot of the other breweries do with a big outside area and this and that.
And the strip mall doesn't seem to like when we have busy days, dude.
Yeah, right? You only got so many parking spots.
I always get a phone call, dude.
Oh, man. But, you do have some cool stuff like you have a Pinewood Derby track, and you don't see that anywhere around town. And I know occasionally those happen, and I've been a part of them, obviously. What other kind of events do you guys do? Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to talk about?
October has always been a month for me that I kind of focus on raising money for breast cancer. So we're going to be focusing on October this year. We're going to do a little bit of a promotion with Pink Guava. We're going to do something, with shirts and hats and all that stuff, and we're going to try to help raise a little bit of money. We haven't really picked a breast cancer charity yet. I think we want to go local. Every time I mention this, people tell me why not to go certain places, and that doesn't make you feel really good when you're trying to give to charity. So
yeah,
I'm not necessarily sure what we want to do and who we want to do it for. We know kind of what we want to do, just not who we want to do it for.
And that's okay. A lot of people jump in and they raise money for charities, but they don't research the charity.
Yeah.
They find out that only a small portion of what they've raised is going to the actual charity.
Right.
It's not just paying bills.
Yeah, 15% isn't enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, keep me in mind in that. We'll definitely bring you back on the show to talk about, as we get closer and when you guys pick dates for whatever. And obviously a big part of that. my wife and I are planning on opening a brewery in North Carolina in a couple of years, and the Beeks and Brooks Brewing Company.
Cheers.
And we're looking forward to it. You know, we're starting to brew now, and you know, we're going to be brewing some beers and getting our stuff out there. Tom, banging something in the back over there.
We do brewing things.
So if you heard the little banging, that's just the brewer. You know, he's back there pumping away at
Banging
something.
it out.
He's banging it out. But you know, one thing we're going to be doing while we're testing our recipes and getting feedback on our recipes from people before we start adjusting is we're going to be taking donations for some of our beers. You know, when hopefully we can hook up with you guys and either brew something here or even bring something down. And, you know, as a donation, you give us $5. You can try 2 beers that we bring in. And we're giving that money to a foundation that's become close to me. It's called Beat After Beat, and it's for LVAD patients.
Oh, nice.
And they basically raise money for LVAD patients and to better their lifestyles.
Why? Because it only costs you like $5 billion to save your life.
Basically, if you don't have insurance, you're
leaves you in a little bit of debt. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's it's something
awesome.
that we're talking about doing, and we'll do other charities too. So if we can somehow be involved in the breast cancer thing and bring down a beer and do the same thing, or brew a beer here with Tom and be a part of that.
So you're saying if you scratch my back, might I scratch yours back?
Yes.
I love it. Let's go.
Back scratcher.
Let's go.
Scratcher. But yes, and that's something that it's new and dear to me. I'm going to be probably doing some social media work for Beat After Beat. And I know that, so I'm looking forward to when I mentioned this at my last my meeting with Beat After Beat, little get together we just had last week. Everybody, I was like, I want to do beer tastings and raise money, and everybody was on board.
Cool.
So just because you have an LVAD doesn't mean you can't drink. I can't because of the medication I'm on.
Right.
But a lot of people can. You can, use medicinal marijuana as well. So, these things are still available to people that have these situations.
Right.
It's everything in moderation.
Sure.
Many years of drinking Jägermeister like it was water and smoking packs of cigarettes a day didn't do me the best.
Did not help.
But, now things are changed, and looking forward to the future on that side. But, yes, anything we can do, get involved, Beeks and Brooks can do to get involved with the breast cancer thing for you guys.
Yeah.
And obviously BSN here, the podcast, will be a part of it.
Well, let's definitely talk beat for beat.
Beat after beat.
Beat after beat. Well, we definitely like to do something.
Yeah, the funny thing about having LVAD is you don't have a pulse. So I have no pulse. I have no heartbeat, technically. So it's
heartless bastard.
It's funny because one of the guys at the meeting was wearing a shirt that said "No pulse, no problem." And every time I go to the,
you got 99 problems, the pulse ain't one.
Exactly. So it's one of those funny situations, and I had home care when I first got home out of the hospital, and they come in like, "We're gonna take your blood pressure." I'm like, "You're not gonna get one." Like, what are you talking about? Like, I have a constant flow. There is no like beating happening. So it's kind of fun. I just had a dentist appointment the other day and went in there and they were like, "Take your blood pressure." I'm like, "No, you're not." They're like it's going to be completely wrong. It's going to tell you something you've never even heard of.
Don't say anything next time. Just see what they do.
Well, that's the problem is they freak out. And they're like, we can't figure it. So it's fun, but it's not so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so keep us going. We'll talk about what you have coming up in October for sure.
Love it.
Now I have something. If you guys know Mick, he's kind of a nerd. He likes 80s and 90s TV.
Oh no.
And he's a big fan of Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
Tell us where this love for Saved by the Bell came from.
I have no clue, dude. I have absolutely no clue. I was a horny college student. I was 17, 18 years old. And it came on like 12 times a day, 3 times on TBS, twice on WGN, and I watched every time. I don't think I had cable. I mean, I was a college student, so Saved by the Bell, man. I was in love with Kelly Kapowski, bro. I still am.
As most people
I still
are.
am,
Tiffany
dude.
Amber Thiessen,
Well,
man.
No, I don't like Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
No.
Kelly Kapowski. That's my girl, dude.
Gotcha.
That's
you didn't
my girl.
like her 90210.
Especially
not the new 90210s, but
yeah, but that wasn't Kelly Kapowski, or that wasn't Tiffany Amber Thiessen too. What was her? She had a different name.
Well, of course, but I mean, she still has a real name.
That's true. Actually,
but however, when she was
you
first
Google
on,
her,
she was first on 90210, her first time on 90210 before they just did this
Valerie.
revamp. Yeah, Valerie. She was a pot smoker.
Yeah, I remember
like
that.
the first episode. She was like rolling joints. She was like the angry cousin or
I
something.
remember having mixed feelings about that while watching them on television.
Were you burning one down at the time?
I was probably burning one down, but I think that's what I loved about Kelly Kapowski was just how pure she was.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know, and then she's just smoking pot and looking all hot and stuff on 90210. And I didn't hate it, but I was confused by it a little bit. Got to admit.
Little turned on, little turned off.
More probably a lot of turned on, a little turned off, but I got over it.
Well, I've kind of prepared a little questionnaire for you, a little game of trivia.
Boy, I'm
for
rusty.
Yeah, it's okay. Little trivia, and that's okay. You know, I know that you always would pull these questions on me when we'd be sitting around after work, so I had no idea. I mean, I know a handful of them, but hi, Tom. Hi, buddy.
He just ran.
You did just run. So here's a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
I got
Oh, boy.
15 of them.
Oh,
but
shit.
we don't have to go through all of them. We'll go through maybe 10 and maybe some extra credits if
See
you
if
can.
I get in a roll, man.
All right. Saved by the Bell trivia with Mick Cohn here.
When I wake up in the morning.
Name of the group the gang was in when they sang at the sock hop.
Oh, that was the Four Aces.
5 aces.
God,
but I'll give it to
5
you.
aces.
5 aces. Good
Damn
call.
it.
What is Zach Morris's father's name?
Zach Morris's father's name is shit.
I'll give you a couple options if you want to.
Yeah, give me multiple choice.
Okay,
That's
multiple.
always
All
helpful.
these questions are multiple choice,
Okay,
so just
cool.
feel free to ask if you
I'll
don't know.
know
off the
it when
bat.
I hear it.
Steve,
Nope.
Derek, Jim, or Donald?
Jim, Derek. Say again.
Steve, Derek, Jim, or yes,
Derek.
That's right. Zach Morris's
Yeah.
father's name was Derek. Well, that's ridiculous that you know that.
2 for 2.
All right.
Sort of.
Which sport did Kelly not participate in? Tennis, swimming, cheerleading, or volleyball?
Tennis.
Oh, got it, man. 3 for 3. What is the name of the duck that Zach grabs from the pond?
Come on. Petunia.
No,
Shit.
no. You jumped the gun. You
I
want
jumped the gun.
Okay.
Yeah, give it.
Cindy, Kelly, Becky,
Becky.
or Ducky?
Becky.
Yeah, it's Becky.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, so
Let's
technically
go.
4 for 4. When Zach lost
This is
Screech's
fun,
dog,
dude. Okay.
the dog's name was Hound Dog.
Hound Dog, because his mom loved Elvis.
To Violet's ex in a card game.
Yeah.
What was the winning hand?
The winning hand was 4 of a kind.
But what 4 kind?
Shit.
Was it aces? Was it kings? Was it queens? Was it jacks?
I'm going to say Jacks.
It was 4 kings.
4 kings.
4
okay.
kings.
Oh,
So
the
4
king.
yeah,
Elvis, the king.
yeah.
It makes fucking sense.
Right? See, it
Shit.
all plays
Oh,
out.
but
It all
hey,
plays
listen. 4 of a kind. I said 4 of a kind.
Yeah.
Survey says ding.
out. Close enough.
Come on.
Close enough, right?
This is my
All
game.
right.
Oh, man.
Do you remember the junior high years?
Yeah. Miss Bliss was pretty fair.
Yeah. One of Miss Bliss's former students turned into a big rock star.
Oh, shit.
Her stage name was Stevie.
Stevie.
What was her real name?
Oh, damn.
Was it Claire, Charlotte, Colleen, or Christine?
Christine.
It was Colleen. Oh, man. We're down 2 now. Damn. All right.
Yeah, but that technically wasn't Saved by the Bell. That was Good Morning Miss Bliss. So I vote.
No.
Good Morning Miss Bliss was the name of the TV show.
Until it changed to Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, but that's when they all just crazily all together, Mr. Belding and everybody else moved to California, dude.
So that's one of the questions. Where did it start?
St. Louis?
What state, I should say?
Missouri? Indiana.
It was Indiana.
Indiana.
I
got it.
Well played.
Holy shit, dude.
All right, here's the fun one. I remember this episode.
All right.
Stacy Carosi's boyfriend,
Yeah.
Craig,
Okay.
cheats to win what annual
Volleyball,
competition
baby.
at the Malibu Sands Beach Club?
Oh, no. They
Wasn't
played
volleyball.
I know. They played volleyball.
But
and
no.
that's, they
So her
brought
boyfriend cheated.
Oh,
Was it
ATV.
race?
He drove AC
yeah,
right
he
into
did.
the ocean.
Yes, he did.
That
Oh
was
my
awesome.
God. I can't believe
Another
you know
episode,
this.
we got to see Kelly Kapowski in a bikini.
Yeah, she was in a bikini,
bathing
I think.
suit. Yeah.
When Screech makes Zach a fake ID, how old is Zach initially?
Shit. I know he's old.
Is he 45?
They went
54, 21,
54.
or 30?
It's 54. And they went to the attic.
They went to the
They
attic.
went to the
yes.
attic.
That is true. Oh, man,
Yeah.
I can't believe you've only got like 2 of these
Screech
wrong
got
so
picked up
far.
by a biker chick, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty funny. Hey, and one of those was from Good Morning Miss Bliss. I'm just throwing that asterisk out there.
No, that
dude.
was technically not Good Morning Miss Bliss.
I don't know. I'm going to Google that later.
You can. and you already Good Morning Miss Bliss was in Indiana.
Okay.
So you got that question.
Yep.
What the first season was originally entitled Good Morning Miss Bliss,
Yep.
and did not include which of these characters? Mr. Belding, Lisa, Screech, or Kelly?
Kelly wasn't there.
Yeah,
they
that's
had
right.
some fake rip-off AC Slater kid. That you can see what they were trying to typecast him as, like the
It was
suave
no
Italian.
Mario Lopez,
There was no,
that's for sure.
There was no Mario Lopez.
All right. Got a couple more for you, and we'll wrap
This is
things up here.
great, dude.
What's the name of the girl group Lisa
Hot
Kelly?
Sunday.
Yep, I didn't even have to
Put
finish
your
that one.
mind on it. Go for it.
What's the
Get
name of the
down
girl
and
group
break a
Lisa
sweat.
Kelly and Jesse
Rock
formed?
and roll. You
In the
ain't seen
that was the
nothing yet.
caffeine pill episode.
Get down
where-
and break a sweat. See, most people would assume that I would crack the, I'm so excited joke, but
Yeah.
I sang their original tune.
It's true.
Yep.
Oh, wow, I can't believe you got that one right off the bat.
Verbatim,
too.
word for word.
Oh, you did.
Nailed it.
What kind of animal is AC Slater's pet Artie?
A lizard.
Chameleon, yeah,
A chameleon
absolutely.
lizard,
Close enough.
Oh,
Oh, man.
RT boy. God, I want to kick my own ass right now,
Here's,
BK.
here's a good one.
Yeah.
Obviously, no Zack Attack.
Sure.
Zach and the boys band.
Yeah. No, it's not just Zach and the boys. It's Zach
everybody.
and the gang.
Finish
crew.
the lyric to Zack Attack's Friends Forever.
Friends forever. You don't even need it.
If you're down, I'll pick you up. I'll never let you fall.
Never
If you-
let you fall.
If you ever need someone, ...
If you ever need someone, go ahead and call.
I'm waiting for your call, but yeah.
Friends
You
forever.
fucking got it. I can't
we'll
believe
be
that.
friends.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What throws Zach off about temporary love interest Melissa?
Temporary love interest Melissa.
Would you like some...
I want to say
ideas?
that's the girl in the wheelchair, but
boom, you
is
hit
that
it. That was what threw him
I was going
off.
to say it's either the girl in the wheelchair or it's the girl that's the wrestler. That was a problem that he had. Zach Morris is trash. If you
Yeah,
haven't seen
exactly.
that
That's what I'm
YouTube
gonna
channel,
say.
that's funny as shit. And it's true. But Zach Morris is a piece of shit.
Yeah, like the other options I was going to give you is she's in her 40s, or
Oh.
she smokes cigarettes. But you nailed it with the wheelchair thing.
Yeah,
Melissa was the woman in the wheelchair. Wow.
They
All
had
right.
they had a basketball game. I remember it vividly.
And the last question I have for you on the Saved by the Bell
Dude,
trivia.
have I still only missed two?
You've only missed two.
Wow. All right.
What song did Screech, Zach, and Slater lip sync to their version of the Risky Business underwear dance?
I remember they were in Dayglow Neon. And then this is a kickback. This is when he lost the Hound Dog. Oh man.
Would you like a couple options?
No, I think I can get this one through sheer memory alone. And it was it was like a 50s doo-wop tune for sure because they were cheesy like that. And it was shit. Yeah, give me
All right, I'll give you four options.
I'll know what it is. Damn it. I don't like training wheels.
Sloop John B.
Nope.
California Girls.
Nope.
Surfing USA. Or Barbara Ann.
Barbara Ann.
There you
That's
go.
the one. I
There
told you it
go.
was cheesy.
It was.
I told you it was
and it was a
typical.
Beach Boys song, nonetheless.
Oh, God. Hey,
2 out of 15.
And let me tell you something. A lot of credit's got to be given to Saved by the Bell because I really think they molded the music scene back in the 90s. If you look at all the bands that Zach and the gang were in, you had the Buddy Bands, you had the Zack Attack, you had the Five Aces, Chocolate Hot Sun. Dude, these are innovative bands that you've got to recognize as having molded.
Oh, my next band's going to be called Hot Sunday, guaranteed.
Sunday?
Hot Sunday.
Telling you, man. If you haven't YouTubed that, you should. It's beautiful.
Well, without further ado, thank you, Mick. I appreciate you being on the first episode
Honored.
of BSN.
Totally
Everybody
honored.
out there, if you want to be a part of the show in any way, shape, or form, come sit in, talk some trash. I can come to you. We can make it happen. Again, that's brewery shenanigans and nonsense, or beverages shenanigans and nonsense, however you want to look at it. It's all about having a good time.
Bullshit now. Let's go.
Bullshitting now. That's it. People are like, what does BSN stand for? It's BSing with me. It's bullshitting with me.
Love
So
it.
come on down and do it. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you guys with our title track of the show. It's Salvador by Haledale. Thank you guys so much. Follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram at BSN Podcast. You can do it on Twitter at BSN with BK. Facebook, BSN Podcast. Follow us on all those social media websites.
No MySpace? Come on, man.
No, man, they wouldn't let me on. I couldn't remember my login, and I wasn't about to put a new email in there. But yeah, so find us on social media. Hit me up, DM me, send us an email at BSN with BK, and we'll get you on the show. Cheers, folks. Thank you so much for listening.